Heaven Official's Blessing. Chapter 162. Audio source: WuXiaWorldAudiobook.com. This jade refuses to be a thrown-away brick. The lower-ranking officials that charged forward to apprehend couldn't block Quan Yi Zhen's fists at all and all perished on the spot. Seeing the situation growing severe, Feng Xin, Pei Su, Lang Qianchu all leapt over to surround Quan Yi Zhen, ready to attack. Yin Yu cried, "Ignore him. Don't touch him. He won't kill anymore." As long as they didn't prevent Quan Yi Zhen from completing his command, he wouldn't cause harm. However, Quan Yi Zhen had already killed over 10 martial heavenly officials, so who would continue to let him run free? Of course no one would believe in Yin Yu's words. If it was someone with fast reactions and could remain calm in the midst of chaos, they would have instantly shouted, "Drop to the ground, surrender and don't move," or a command to that effect, but things were happening too fast, there was no time to react. Yin Yu had never experienced any incidents of this sort, plus he was already in distress, his ability to make decisions completely out of sorts, making one mistakes after the other. One wrong step and the rest of the steps in shambles. Just as Yin Yu was running around with his head cut off, Mu Qing suddenly appeared behind him. Trying to get away? Only then did Yin Yu realize he was also fleeing without direction, and he instantly braked, trying to explain himself. "I wasn't." But Mu Qing didn't wait for him to speak before twisting his arm behind his back, and Xie Lian heard a crisp crack, Yin Yu's face twisting. As a martial god, to be subdued by another martial god whose ability and strength were greater was a double whammy to both the body and the mind. As for Pei Ming, who was only watching the fight on the side without participating, he commented from the distance, "How come it's like his strength suddenly exploded?" He was referring to Quan Yi Zhen, of course. Quan Yi Zhen was already quite capable in combat, but with the Brocade Immortal on him, the level increased twofold. When other martial gods faced him one-on-one, it was actually 2 against 1, and it wasn't fair, but since no one knew the secret within, they were too embarrassed to attack him jointly, because wouldn't it be pathetic otherwise? As they fought, Quan Yi Zhen ran down the main street of the heavenly court while covered head to toe in blood, and when he suddenly saw a palace on the road and dashed right in head first. The crowd shouted. He entered Yin Yu Palace. The command Yin Yu gave him was to leave, but he didn't say where, so Quan Yi Zhen went randomly. Several martial gods also followed him in. Since everyone else was clear of mind, they held back while fighting Quan Yi Zhen, but he didn't care for anyone and fought with all he's worth against anyone who would obstruct his orders. Thus this enraged the other martial gods. Feng Xin shouted, "This brat reeks of evil, let's beat him down first and talk later." Everyone had that very intention, and the moment Feng Xin shouted, no one stayed reserved any longer, and they all rushed in, surrounding him to beat him to a pulp. Swords swung, palms blasted, fists flew up, legs kicked. Half of that already deteriorating Yin Yu Palace instantly collapsed. When Yin Yu, who was still being restrained by Mu Qing, saw with his own eyes his palace fall apart from the brawl, his eyes bulged and he yelled, "Please stop fighting!" As if that would stop the martial gods, but Quan Yi Zhen heard his order and suddenly arrested his fists. Now he'd done it. All the swords, blasts, fists, and kicks all landed heavily on Quan Yi Zhen. Another tragedy. Lang Qianchu didn't have the time to hold back his long sword and struck it deep into Quan Yi Zhen's shoulder. Thank goodness his sword was dull and he instantly stopped his attack so Quan Yi Zhen wasn't sliced into 2. Lang Qianchu shouted, "Stop fighting, it looks like he can't move anymore." Feng Xin wiped the blood off his face. Fucking finally. Quan Yi Zhen laid on the ground stiffly like he was bound by ropes. On the side, Mu Qing tied Yin Yu's wrists with the immortal binding rope before letting go of him. Yin Yu fell to the ground in a daze, and he looked dumbfoundedly at the mess that was his Yin Yu Palace. Scanning around, his eyes moved back onto Quan Yi Zhen, who dropped to the floor before him. Quan Yijun seemed to really have a strong life force. Even after being beaten to a pulp by several martial gods just now, his body practically contorted. He didn't lie for very long before he suddenly sat up again, straight confused. What's going on? The martial gods were all going to go mad from rage, and they all shouted at the same time. You're in big trouble now. Ling Wen had been following and watching closely behind, and she finally exhaled, her face pale, but she somehow still managed to coordinate help as she raised two pressed fingers to her temple and cried in the spirit communication array. Medical officials, emergency aid, now. Quan Yijun was still very confused. He looked back and saw Yin Yu sitting on the ground, so he crawled to stand up, seeming to want to help him up. Seeing that completely oblivious face matched with a background of his smashed divine palace, Yin Yu was still silent, but his face was slowly contorting. Quan Yijun didn't know what's transpired at all, and asked, Shishang, what are you doing? It was like Yin Yu suddenly lost all sanity. He puffed an abrupt laugh, then shout with eyes brimming red, Go die. Hearing that cry, Xie Lian along with the many heavenly officials present all widened their eyes instantly. Having received the order, Quan Yijun immediately took action without thinking, grabbing a sword from the ground, and with the sword in one hand and pulling up his own hair with the other, he aimed for his own throat. The moment he moved, the first reaction of the martial gods was he was going to sneak attack, so they jumped back multiple feet away. Yet, they had never expected that he was actually going to slit his own throat, and by then it was too late for them to snatch his sword, and they all roared at him. Yin Yu was also astounded, but he still hadn't yet come to and turned away. Blood was about to splatter when Jun Wu's figure suddenly flashed behind Quan Yijun. Crack, 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 crack. Within an instant, all four of Quan Yijun's limbs were dislodged. Then, Jun Wu chopped precisely on the back of Quan Yijun's neck and he lost consciousness completely, falling back to the ground in a heap, his entire body no longer resembling that of a human, his blood puddling around him. Finally, everyone, including Xie Lian, sighed a breath in relief. Everyone, but Jun Wu. He turned around, his expression showing neither rage nor joy but exceedingly grim, and he turned to Yin Yu. With things progressed thus, I trust you have an explanation. Yin Yu had his head buried deeply in his hands, and only when he heard him did he subconsciously look up. I don't know anything. I'm not involved. It's not me. It's... However, he trailed off as he suddenly snapped out of it, looking like he suddenly realized just exactly what had come out of his mouth. Under so many eyes, he told Quan Yijun to go die, and it was impossible for anyone not to have gotten a clue. Mu Qing spoke up. My lord, Qi Ying's reaction just now must have been born from some wicked spell casted upon him. There must be something on him that makes him follow Yin Yu's commands. But what? We don't know. Naturally, Ling Wen, who was standing on the side, knew exactly what that something was, but she didn't dare speak a word. Just coordinating helping hands unseen was as much as she could do. Lang Qianchu said in disbelief. There's such a thing in this world? Just then, someone pushed aside the crowd to rush in, and it was Jian Yu. It was obvious that he had been out chasing after and looking for Yin Yu before coming back, and hadn't yet known what's happened. What are you all doing? What's happened to our Yin Yu palace? How did it become like this? WHO smashed it? Jun Wu approached Yin Yu languidly. He heed your orders. How are you controlling him? His voice wasn't harsh, but there was the oppressive air of power, exceedingly suffocating, and to be looked down upon from high above, it added another layer of fear in one's heart. It wasn't like Xie Lian never committed major mistakes, but he had never seen Jun Wu like this before. It seemed Jun Wu had really let him off easy. Yin Yu's mind was already in disarray. And as far as Xie Lian could see, his mind wasn't very strong either, his ability to react in situations weak, and at a time like this, he couldn't utter a single word. Seeing that he wasn't responding, Jun Wu said, just as well. Even if you won't speak, I already know. It's that armor. He's done for. Finished. Everything was doomed. Yin Yu crouched on the ground, hugging his head and knew as waves of talk started from all around him. Astonishing. I have never witnessed anything more inconceivable in the heavens. A heavenly official manipulating another heavenly official to have him kill without reservations. He's murdered over 10 officials and then he'd tell him to go die? What a vile heart. Among the crowds, when Jian Yu figured out such a major incident had happened, his face also blanched. Still, he gritted his teeth and charged out, kneeling on the ground. My lord, that armor it was me. Who gave it to Quan Yizhen. It had nothing to do with Yin Yu. Only then did Yin Yu seem to stir, and he croaked. Jian Yu. Jian Yu braced himself and cried loudly. I had only wanted to teach that brat a lesson, but I hadn't thought that it would cause such a major incident. On the side, Quan Yizhen was still unconscious, lying in a pool of his own blood, and the medicine masters and heavenly officials had rushed to the scene, surrounding him. Jian Yu said, I've always hated that brat, but Yin Yu had always treated him with courtesy. Many here can stand witness to this. He didn't know anything about the armor. However, at this point, it was too late. There was no one who would believe Yin Yu wasn't involved at all anymore. Instantly, someone piped up. You're only a low-ranking official in Yin Yu Palace, yet you already hate him to the point of causing him harm. It's easy to imagine that the master heavenly official you serve wouldn't be any better. There were even taunts. He didn't know anything? If he didn't know anything, why would he tell him to go die? Don't tell me he's only joking. If it said Yin Yu's reactions were all reasonable, that he only lost himself from distress, then his last words of go die negated everything and could not break him free of condemnation. Thinking back, when Ling Wen first told Xie Lian this story, she said Yin Yu was playing a prank, which Xie Lian could now appreciate it as her trying to help Yin Yu cover up a little. Jian Yu couldn't believe it. What? Stop talking nonsense. How can Yin Yu say anything of the sort? He's always been polite and courteous with that brat. Why would he tell him to go die? Yin Yu, you didn't say it, right? You didn't say something like that? You wouldn't have said it. However, Yin Yu didn't answer him, and instead, closed his eyes. Jian Yu just wouldn't accept it, and everyone around had become speechless. We all heard it with our own ears. How can it be denied? Jian Yu quickly said, there must have been a misunderstanding. There's so much you all don't know. No matter the kind of misunderstanding, whether if we know or not, there's no misunderstanding great enough for one to want to kill one's own Shidi. Hearing this, Yin Yu and Jian Yu were both silenced. That heavenly official continued. I heard ever since Quan Yizhen went independent and erected his own palace, the people of Yin Yu Palace stopped caring for him. Every time Quan Yizhen visited, the excuse was always no one was around. I was confused at first, so turns out it was because they couldn't stand Mei. Speaking of, didn't someone mistake the wrong person at the Mid-Autumn banquet the other day? I saw how dark their faces got at the time. Those were all undeniable truths, but the conclusion was wrong. Oh, I know of that incident too. It was pretty awkward, but it's still not bad enough to want to harm someone. Yes, it's a little too small-minded. Jian Yu's eyes were seeing red, and he shouted, I already said His Highness had nothing to do with this. I'm the one who committed the crime. I admit to everything. Is that not enough? Yet, even if Yin Yu was to jump into the Yellow River, he wouldn't be able to wash himself clean. One in the eyes of others, this was only enough to prove that Yin Yu had a malicious but loyal subordinate. Besides, only 2 words were enough to shut down all arguments. Well, go die didn't come out of anyone else's mouths. Things were becoming more and more heated, and Zhen Wu said darkly, take them all down. Ling Wen, stay here and watch over Qi Ying. Ling Wen inclined her head to acknowledge the command, and Zhen Wu stalked out of Yin Yu Palace. Several martial heavenly officials pulled Yin Yu to his feet, and Yin Yu was heart-stricken. "Let it go, Jian Yu. Don't say any more." Jian Yu was also pulled up and bound with the immortal binding rope, and he cried, "It's always let it go, let it go. This time you mustn't let it go. Let it go and you'll be finished. You'll be banished. You'll be banished for sure." However, Yin Yu only sighed. "Let it go. If it's banishment, then so be it. Even if I stay here, there's no meaning to it." Jian Yu cried bitterly. You should never, ever have said those words. Just those 2 words and you've lost all hope of turning this around. You'd usually never curse for him to go die, so why of all times you had to say it now? Those words. It was like Yin Yu suddenly aged for 10 years, and his eyes had lost its light. He himself seemed to be a little lost, and he shook his head. "I don't know why either. I'm just... sigh. I don't want to argue anymore." He stumbled a couple steps as he was being taken away, and Jian Yu suddenly cried. "Why?" Everyone turned to look at him. Jian Yu cried, "It's not like you didn't work as hard. You're stronger than him by 10,000-fold, better than him by 1,000,000-fold. Quan Yizhen is nothing. So what if I hate him? Why is it that he's like that, and you're like this? Why isn't it him who's banished?" He gritted his teeth in resentment, so filled with hate for the reality of things, so filled with hate tears rolled down his cheeks. But there were many things in this world that just by working hard wouldn't be enough. Perhaps he knew this in his heart, but he just couldn't accept it, unable at all to swallow this resentment. Listening to his cries, Yin Yu's steps became too heavy for him to move. He buried his face in his hands and fell to the ground in a heap before Yin Yu Palace, and he roared, "Enough. I already said don't say any more. Please, just let me go." He covered his ears and cried until he was hoarse. "Please stop repeatedly reminding me. Stop talking. Please, I beg you to all stop talking." Xie Lian couldn't bear to watch any longer. "That's enough." Thus, Hua Cheng dispersed the scene, and the 2 lightly separated their foreheads. After having touched foreheads for so long, Xie Lian felt it a bit numb and a bit itchy, even his front uncomfortably warm. He wanted to raise his hand to rub at it, but his limbs couldn't move. Hua Cheng seemed to have detected his little discomfort, and raised his hand to help him rub like it was the most natural thing to do in the world before dropping his hand. Outside by the stone wall, the demon mask-wearing Yin Yu had been pacing back and forth, and after a while, he turned to Quan Yizhen and said coldly, "You wanna come out?" He intentionally changed his voice. Quan Yizhen nodded. "I do." Yin Yu replied. "Very well. Look here." Then, in the blink of an eye with flashing speed, the shovel was whacked against Quan Yizhen's head. Clunk. Quan Yizhen instantly dropped silent. Xie Lian was stunned. "No way. He whacked him dead? He really killed him?" Hua Cheng laughed heartily. "Don't worry, Gerger, he's not dead, just fainted." After the shovel was swung, Yin Yu exhaled a breath. In the end, he seemed to have decided to dig Quan Yizhen out of the wall after all, and raise the crescent shovel, digging through the wall shovel by shovel. Xie Lian understood. If Yin Yu was to save Quan Yizhen directly, Yin Yu wouldn't be able to fight him and win, and he risked exposing his identity, which would be distressful. The relationship between the 2 Shishang and Shidi truly was distressful to the extreme, and who's the more distressed couldn't even be compared. It was probably for the best that Yin Yu pretended not to know him. "San Lang, should we maybe also think of a way to get out of here now?" Xie Lian said. Hua Cheng seemed to be enjoying himself hanging where they were. Already?" Xie Lian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Well, yeah. You wanna live in here? If it's with Gerger, I don't see why not," Hua Cheng said. "Alright, fine. I was joking." He schooled his expression and reached out to cover Xie Lian's ears. "What's this?" Xie Lian asked. Hua Cheng smiled. "I'm too lazy to walk out, so might as well just blow the whole place up." Xie Lian was just thinking whether if they would blow up. Others were also swallowed by the mountain spirit when his expression changed suddenly. Wait. Hua Cheng bore the same expression and dropped his hands. The two listened intently, and a moment later, Xie Lian whispered, "Did you hear that?" Hua Cheng also lowered his voice. "I did." Yin Yu was on one side of the stone wall digging holes with the crescent shovel, and on the other side of the stone wall, there was someone else who was talking. There weren't any silver butterflies spying. They heard the voice directly themselves, because that person was standing really, really close to the stone wall, almost pressing against it and speaking. Xie Lian held his breath to listen, but could only hear muffled, intermittent, indistinct words, like, "Ate them. Upper court. Martial gods." His mind whizzed, and he exchanged a look with Hua Cheng, then tried with difficulty to move closer towards the voice. That voice belonged to a man, and he seemed to be conversing with someone because every time he said something, he would pause for a moment. Yet, Xie Lian didn't hear any sounds from the one he was conversing with. Maybe it was because the other was further away. Once they shuffled over silently, that voice became somewhat clearer. Although words were still somewhat blurred here and there, Xie Lian at least heard fuller sentences. That man said, "His Highness the Crown Prince has also come. I don't want to take this step. I'm sure you're the same, but he's beyond saving." Xie Lian wondered inwardly, "Me? How am I beyond saving? Wait, this voice. This voice was very familiar. He must have heard it before, and had heard it for a long, long time, not just the once or twice. But since it was a long, long time ago, he couldn't match the voice to the man instantly." Just as he was thinking really hard, that man added, "Then let him end here." Suddenly, Xie Lian remembered who this voice belonged to. He twitched his lips and muttered without a sound, "Head priest." The person on the other side of the stone wall had the exact same voice as the esteemed master who once taught him in the Xianli Kingdom. Translator's notes. The Chinese idiom, "When the Yellow River flows clear," is used to refer to an event that will never happen and is similar to the English expression, "When pigs fly." End chapter.